still can't see my screen.
So hello everybody, how's it going? So it's just going to be Loki and because for whatever reason decided to abandon us, and even though it was going to be, we were really, we're kind of disappointed by it, but whatever. And then also we're only going to do about an hour show today because we're just going to make it a short one today. But we're going to do a video on Bill Schnoblin, and we'll start that pretty soon. But and you're keeping an eye on the chat, right, Loki?
I have the chat up, and hello, Witchy Jim.
Okay, and I'll keep an eye on the chat too. So just but let us know how you guys feel about Dorian not showing up for game night, because I was really looking forward to it. I really wanted to do it, but whatever. He wanted to be selfish and not participate.
Had to be selfish and jerk.
Yeah.
How dare he?
Yeah. So share your feelings in the chat, because I know like later on, if the Dorian comes back to watch this video, he'll hear how myself and Loki feels about it. So we're going to tone it down a little bit. But how do you guys in the chat really feel about it? I want you to open up and just, we'll read them on air so that he can hear them. And oh, okay, we got one chat.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we could repeat that on air. That's wow.
Bad, Jim. Bad.
Wow. Whew, man. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Who else is in here?
So far I'm only seeing Jim. So apparently we're slow goings today.
Mm.
And I just realized how badly I can see the glare on my glasses on the computer screen. That's actually fun. Don't want to give that away. I'll just be blind. Fuck it.
Well, that's all right. I don't want you to like bump into things and put your eye out. So
no, I'll be fine.
Okay.
I was just having trouble reading stuff earlier today. So
okay. Yeah. So it looks like we got one more person. Tell us how you feel about Dorian. Ooh.
Oh.
Wow. Jim's really upset with Dorian, isn't he?
I know.
It's terrible.
My God.
Wow. Well, I hope you remain friends with him. I mean, that's pretty harsh.
That is.
Wow.
So besides that, I hope everybody had a good weekend and week and whatnot. I mean, mine was pretty mundane.
Mundane?
Yeah, it consists of cleaning Cards Against Humanity, realizing how horrible of a person I am, stuff like that. So the normal stuff.
The usual stuff.
Yeah.
So why are you a horrible person? What did you do?
Well, if you've ever played the game Cards Against Humanity, you will realize that you have a very twisted mindset when it comes to fixing phrases when you have to actually type in the cards. You realize how corrupt and twisted your view on everything is. Especially the card of describe my sex life in one word. That is never a fun card.
So that makes you a horrible person?
Oh no, just what some people type.
Okay.
Right. That and there's so many Hitler, Nazi baby, Jesus jokes in there. It's not. I'm shocked that they haven't been sued.
Okay, so Loki, that's a really good question, and I got a good question for you and for the chat.
Okay.
Who was more horrible before Hitler was known? Who did everybody reference as more horrible then? Like today, whoever's horrible or whatever, you just compare them to either Nazis or Hitler, and that's like, okay, that's the end. That's like, all right, yeah, okay, backing off. He's the most wickedest person in history. But before Hitler, who would people say, oh, that's you're just like so-and-so?
I think Genghis Khan or somebody like that.
It went back that far?
I don't know. Or the villain of World War I, which was fuck, who was that?
Yeah, good question.
I gotta Google that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna be flat out honest. I have no fucking idea who the who the main players were in World War One. All I know is that I think we won, and then somehow we fucked up and got into World War II later on. So my history of modern history, my history of modern history is not that good. That's a nice way to say it. I would suggest people say in the chat, but I don't have the chat open, so I wouldn't be able to see it.
All right.
I know it was Germany, England, Italy.
Okay.
France, Belgium.
I have it up here. The Axis powers were France, the British Empire, Russia, Siberia, Belgium, I can't even pronounce that name. Japan, Italy, United States. Central powers.
That's
Japan my God.
Was involved in World War One. I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently.
Now you know them naming that World War One is just asking for World War Two.
Well, they called it the Great War originally.
I know.
Allies and it looks like Central Powers were one group, and then there was like 4 different kind of groupings in this, but there was a lot of countries involved, including China, Thailand, Greece, one that I can't pronounce, Romania, Bulgaria, Empire of Najis and Hades. Yeah, there is a lot of people actually in it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
It was actually the entire world pretty much against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different countries.
Yeah.
8 or 9 different countries. So
wow. Yeah, because I mean I don't really know anything about World War One. I'm going to be absolutely honest about that. World War II, I'm a little more familiar with.
Well, World War One, we touched on it in elementary school and some in middle school, but after that, we really never did again in my schooling.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going over it in history class, but I don't know. I must have been like, staring out the window during that part because I don't remember really anything much about it.
The war was triggered by the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand of Austria.
Oh yeah, that I heard. That I've heard of. But like World War II, I think one of the reasons why I know so much about that is because there were so many documentaries I remember seeing on it, shows, movies. So that's mostly why I not know so much about, but that's where I got.
Yeah,
pretty much that much information there on World War One. I don't think.
No, oddly enough, it's one of those things that they didn't cover too much when we were that I can recall while we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we got older, a lot more of history covered World War II because of how horrible it was and what came out of it, what had happened, things like that. Though there's so much that did go on during World War I, but during World War II was also the Great Depression and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't see that as a win, Soren. Sorry.
That's all right.
They just have really bad timing with words.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyhow, I don't know. I don't know who was more horrible than Hitler.
As far as I can consider Genghis Khan or Dorian, who knows? What did
Genghis Khan do that was so bad?
I don't know. Took over all of freaking China, fathered like 99.9% of them. There was a lot of shit Genghis Khan did. Vlad the Impaler might be on that list of a horrible human being.
That's exactly who I was thinking of, Vlad the Impaler. I mean, he was horrible. I mean,
you can't get worse than the guy who became Dracula in stories.
Well, I mean, the stories that I've heard of Vlad the Impaler, one famous one, I don't know how accurate it is, but he would come out and like, first of all, people who went against him or people who he felt wronged him or prisoners of war, or who knows how he picked these people, probably, you know, rivals, but he would impale them on large sticks and it would go up through, he would impale them, I think, in their rectum on a spike. So they would just slowly kind of come down and get impaled by this thing. But
yeah, it was from the bottom and they would slowly slide down and go through their stuff and cause a lot more pain. Some of the victims didn't die until the spike was clear through their throat and they were still hanging on there.
Right, exactly. And he would sit there and he would supposedly, he would sit there and eat dinner and watch these people writhe in pain. So
pretty much.
I don't know. I mean, that's pretty horrible too. So I don't know.
It is.
Maybe before Hitler, people compared other people to Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, that's my thinking on that one. And I don't understand why I know so much about Vlad the Impaler. I think I'm just morbid.
Well, they did a lot of like documentaries. I remember seeing a documentary on vampires and like the history of vampires and how, you know, pieces of mythology were taken from all these various parts. I mean, that was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love watching documentaries on World War I, II, Desert Storm, all that fun stuff whenever they have them on Netflix. But I think I get pulled in more of the like vampires or not Bigfoot. I get sick of hearing about him up here because I'm in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
And but just like things like that make me sit there and watch going, people have interesting theories. I can't watch anything on aliens anymore. That guy from the History Challenge, the aliens guy, I can't do it anymore. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have a theory about that. I mean, I believe that aliens are out there. I mean, that's just a statistic. I mean, in my opinion, it's a statistic. If I can talk, it's a statistical fact because there are so many solar systems out there, and there are so many that have. There's actually a lot of requirements you have to have for life that we know of. You know, the quote unquote Earth would have to be in the sweet spot. There'd have to be water. You know, they'd have to have a moon, so they have seasonal rotation.
Because that's, for that card.
Yeah. All these various things that have to be in place for life to exist. But even with all of those requirements, if you think of the number of solar systems there are just in our galaxy alone, there's a lot. So,
yeah,
I just don't think they've advanced farther than us. I think if anything, they might be at about the same stage as us. And the reason why I say that is because of, you know, various evolutionary processes that their planet had to go through. They probably had some sort of dinosaurs. You know, they probably evolved a certain way and, you know, then started doing iron and all these other things. So anyhow, that's how I think.
Yeah, I just find it we haven't even scratched the surface of a lot of things in this universe. And when people say that we have, it's like, no, we just got to Mars with a rover. That's about it. And satellites. We don't really know what's out there. Whoa. Or what's even here. I mean, shit, our own ocean is still a mystery to us.
Yes.
So how about the other mysteries that we're about to watch tonight?
Yes. All right. So we'll go ahead and get into this. This is going to be good old Bill Schnoebelen. Let me get the setup set here so that you guys can hear it.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Okay, can you see it on your screen?
That I can.
Okay, now is that, oh, shit. I think I fucked it up.
Nope. Yeah, you had to hit present to all.
Yes. There we go. Okay, now everybody should be able to see it.
Yep, I believe so.
Love.
Okay. Can you hear it?
I can hear it just fine. Our three people in the chat, Kawaii's, Jim, and Jack, you guys hear it okay?
Always takes a little while with the time delay.
Suck. Play it for a few moments. Yeah. So far I hear, yep, all good from Jim.
Okay, good. All right.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Dr.
Shalom, Mr.
Shalom,
Snuffleupagus.
Shalom, toilet paper beard.
William Steblen coming to you from With One Accord Ministries with another prayer alert. Actually, this one is a double prayer alert because they've got two significant things coming up in the pretty near future. The most immediate one, and the one which you want to call your attention to, is the witch and satanic holiday that takes place on the spring equinox, which is March 21st, and that is called Astara. And this is one of the 8 major feast days. It's on both the satanic calendar and on the witchcraft, white witchcraft, Wicca type calendar.
No, it's actually one of the 4 feast holidays. There's four major celebrations, which were the original ones, which was Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lughnasadh, which was November 1st. But I can't talk right now. February 1st, May 1st, and August 1st. And then later on, let's see, approximately maybe late 1950s, early 1960s, around that time, they added in the 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes.
Yep. But as far as I know, I've never seen a satanic calendar out for members of the Satanic Church. I mean, I've seen the witches calendar. I mean, I own the witches calendar, but I've never seen a Satanist calendar before. I kind of want to know where I can buy one. That has to have some pretty badass artwork on it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, when I talked with Raul from the Church of Satan, he was mentioning that they, like if a Satanist wanted to celebrate the other, the traditional Sabbats, the traditional Western Sabbats, they could, but they don't really. It's not really part of the Satanic calendar. There's Walpurgis Night, which is around May 1st or something like that, and then obviously the birthday, and I think there's a couple of other ones, but I don't believe that Ostara or the March equinox is one of them. I could be wrong.
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a Satanist. I'd have to look it up, but I mean, as far as I know, from the ones that I've talked to and from when we talked with Raul, you're absolutely right. The fact that it's their choice to celebrate what they want to, kind of like with pagans, witches, and Wiccans, we can celebrate whatever the hell we want to. I mean, I know some people like to celebrate Easter as Easter or Christmas with their families or just Halloween for fun. But the thing is it's because we have the free agency to choose what the hell we want to do.
Right.
And that goes for everyone. Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just another holiday. I mean, these people, and I'm saying these people, I'm meaning that, people who make up lies and bullshit about Satanists and witches and pagans, but they have to make people like Bill Schnoebelen, they have to make it so much worse than it is, to anybody to pay any attention to it. So,
yeah. I mean, I know they have a Stara/Easter event sometimes down in an area in Portland, either Portland or Salem, where they pretty much have like the maypole but it's a spring get together, and it's actually kind of cool. And they welcome everyone, and you have everyone from pagans to Christians, Catholics. Everyone goes. I mean, it's just for fun and coming together as a community nowadays, more or less. And I've seen pictures from it, and my friend loves going just because of, well, they do fun at adults, like Jello shot Easter eggs. So.
And it's interesting to note that the name that is given in the Celtic culture for this is Ostara.
No, it's not. The Ostara, to the best of my knowledge, doesn't have Q or P Celtic or origins. That's not the root of the word. The root of it, if anything, is Norse. It's the Saxon tongue, the Germanic tongue. It doesn't have anything to do with the Celtic tongue. And then if you obviously linguistically, if you go farther back than that, then it gets towards Godelic and Proto-Indo-European languages, and at some point there is a root there. But the branch of languages that Ostara is a part of is the Germanic Anglo-Saxon fork of the linguistic tree of Proto-Indo-European languages. There, that's it.
And this name is probably related very closely to the Germanic goddess of spring, whose name is Aostra. And of course, Aostra is where the word Easter comes from. So we see here the profoundly close connection between this feast and Easter, which of course most Christians mistakenly celebrate.
Just a note, I'd have to look it up, but I don't think there's actually a root. I don't think those two words, Eostara and Easter, are related. I could be wrong on that, but I don't believe they are.
I don't know if they are or not. I'd have to look it up too.
Thinking that it somehow relates to the resurrection of Yahushua, but it really doesn't. It's a pagan holiday, and before I get into the precise warning,
which pagans? I'm tired of this blanket term thrown out there, pagan, because that is a Christian description of people who do not believe in an Abrahamic God. So which pagans are you talking about? Which pre-Christian group are you talking about, Bill?
I'll just briefly mention that the idea here is that the winter is over in northern climes, and that the things are starting to bud, the crops are starting to, the frost has gone away from the earth, and it's a time of celebration. And it's also a time when we have you may have heard the expression "mad as a March hare."
Wait a second. Is he describing the spring or the fall?
I think he's now describing the spring, because he's now describing spring and not fall, because and now he's confusing me. He says these things fall close together, but Ostara is... Hold on.
Well, no, I just got a little confused because at first I thought he was talking about... because I was thinking of Imbolc, and he's talking about the March equinox.
Yeah, he's talking about Ostara. He did talk about Imbolc, and now he's talking about Ostara, because I think this is in between. Though he's more accurate that Ostara is closer to Beltane than it is to Imbolc. So
no,
sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm getting confused.
That's because this is, of course, the time when rabbits, hares will just reproduce like crazy. In fact, sometimes the female rabbits will actually conceive another litter before they give birth to the first litter. That's how fertile they are. That's how they came to be associated with this goddess Aostra and with the spring. So, you know, we have here the origin of the Easter bunny. We have the origin of the word Easter. And, you know, the scriptures tell us that we are not to learn the ways of the heathen. We are not to do the things that the heathen do. And so when they have Easter egg hunts, when they, you know, have somebody dressing up as a bunny rabbit running around, and this has nothing to do with the resurrection of our Messiah.
So, and also in the Bible, in the Jeremiah one that he referenced there, they're talking about a specific people, and those people don't have anything to do with the Norsemen or with the Northmen with the Germanic tribes. It doesn't have anything to do with those people. It has to do with the peoples of that area. I mean, I'd have to look it up and find it, but the peoples that chapter in the Bible is speaking on is a different group.
Yeah. I found the vessel, the Ostara. The main article is Istara and Liberanta. I cannot pronounce her name. Devised from the Latia, yeah. Roots from it's from the from Old High German of form of the Old English goddess of Istara. Yeah, it would be of Istara. Ostara is a vessel. Is the equinox for some pagan themes. So yeah, she is the goddess of that, and Ostara was based on the name of her. So he did get that correct.
Yeah, right. But what about Easter?
Easter, as far as I know, no. It has no ties to Easter besides them putting it on the same correlation as it. Mm-hmm. On the calendar so that they can quote unquote take it back mm-hmm. and make it into their own into a Christian holiday. Right.
So Easter doesn't have any. So Easter is not the root of Eostara.
No.
Okay. Yeah. That's what he had said.
If anything, Eostara created Easter basically because, well, that's what they're using. Ostara as is the base for Easter for them, where Easter has nothing to do with us. They use it as it has everything to do with them, and they use the same day that we have ours, kind of thing, kind of like with Christmas and Yule.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, the way that our holidays have evolved, it's pretty. I mean, it's not exactly, it's a little more complex than they stole it from us, but yeah, but I know what you mean.
Absolutely nothing. There were no,
because there's actually a way that they have to calculate Easter, and it's 40 days after a certain period, and it can fall on different times. And there's also, if you go back in history, the time, especially between Protestants and Catholics, was the celebration of Easter, and there was it's a big mess determining when people were supposed to celebrate Easter and all this. So there's a big, you know,
cluster.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion on that. So anyhow, I'm gonna get on with it.
No problem.
When he's present, when the angel rolled away the big stone in front of the tomb. Trust me on that. Check all 4 Gospels. It ain't in there. So this is something that if you're practicing Easter, you need to stop doing it. Really, nowhere does the Scripture say that you are to do something like that on the day of Messiah's resurrection. So instead, you are to keep Passover, and we already have a video teaching about that, but we'll probably have another one in another week or so. But for now, I just want to bring that to your attention. If you're under the mistaken idea that somehow this is honoring to Yahushua, to Jesus, to have Easter bunnies and Easter eggs and all of that, it really is not. It's an evocation of all of these totems, these pagan things that are part of this spring festival of the equinox, the festival of Ostara. Now, from the standpoint of spiritual warfare, this is why we usually do these short teachings, is many believers want to know about this stuff, because any witch or satanic holiday that comes along is going to be a time of increased negative spiritual power.
How and why?
That's my question too. How is it negative?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Why is it negative? How is it negative? What is he using as a scale? How can he prove this scale? Like right before this date, Ostara, it was like not that negative, not that bad, and now suddenly it is Ostara, and it is. I mean, what is he using as a measurement? What is the apparatus?
What is his determination of good and evil? What is his determination of good and not so good? Because everybody's is different. So, I mean, I could have a great year and nothing wrong happened. How is this negative? I'm curious, Mr. Schnoblin.
It's going to be a time of increased evil. And again, that's partly because there's all of these witches and Satanists doing rituals right before, during, and after this day. And it's also because there's just this current, this flow. And of course, the devil does everything he can to defile.
So it's kind of like me saying that there's like an increase in evil activity on Saturdays, definitely on Sundays, and then on Mondays too, because that's when everybody goes to church.
Yep.
And so it's a heightened activity around this time of evil stuff going on because the majority of people are in church.
Oh, lords. I mean, honestly, if evil happens because people are trying to do good little things, then dear gods, I hate to see, I'm with you. I hate to see what happens if everybody went to church on one day, how the world would implode.
The natural order of things. There's nothing wrong per se with the equinox or with the solstice, either the spring or the fall. But these pagans and Satanists and neo-pagans, they make a big thing out of it, and they.
Whoa. What are neo-pagans?
Well, neo-pagans. So when they're speaking about pagans in a historical context, they're talking about the pre-Christian peoples, pre-Christian faiths around, were around that time. And then neo-pagans were supposed to be like the new pagans, like those of us today who identify with the label of pagans, but we aren't like the original pagans in Europe. We are the new pagans, we're trying to go back to those old ways. So there was, I think in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, there was kind of like, trying to determine language and figure out groups and everything and what we should call ourselves. And I think it was actually, crap, what the hell is his name? Damn it. I can't think of his name. There was this Isaac Bonewitz. Isaac Bonewitz was one of the people who had, if he didn't invent it or really kind of get it started, he also helped perpetuate it. But he helped perpetuate like the word neo-pagan. That's what it meant. It meant like those of us today, like we're like the new pagans, not like the old pagans, because we're trying to find out what they practiced, but we are the new pagans. So neo-pagan sort of got started that way, and I don't think it really caught on that well. Maybe around some academic circles it caught on, and then later on, obviously, people started referring to neo-Wiccans, and it just started getting out of hand because it no longer served It just turned into a big clusterfuck. So now today you get people who are, you know, either they're witches or they're Wiccans, and then they sort of have this smug attitude that they're whatever it is that they practice is better than the other one. And it's, I mean, that's the same nonsense fight that's been going on since the middle 60s, you know?
Yeah. I mean, in the end, you're whatever you label yourself as. You don't have to take the label of somebody else.
No. It's not the label. It's not the label.
Yeah.
It's not the label. What it is it's like traditional witchcraft today. People say, "Oh, I practice traditional witchcraft," meaning that somehow it's ancient or more traditional. No, that's not the case. That's what they call it. But they get into these battles of what is the most pure form of witchcraft, or the original, the traditional, or the whatever.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
The same thing happens today, you know?
Yeah. The long-winded argument of I know better than you know kind of thing. That's why it kind of sounds like, so, well, I know this better than you because I'm a traditionalist. It's like, well, what's the actual tradition? How can you prove that you're this? Or I kind of don't understand why people have to sit there and say, well, I know this better, or I can do this better, or I practice this, so it's more correct than yours. It's kind of like Christianity. It's my church knows better than your church.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and exactly. And it's just kind of, you know, it's so, I mean, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but it was sort of like, you know, pagans and then new pagans. So it's like one is supposed to be an ancient practice and the other one is a more modern, newer practice. But, you know, the belief or someone trying to make a case for and claim that there's some kind of a quote unquote pagan or witch line in European descent that goes back to our ancient ancestors that used to practice before Christianity spread, you know, I think that that's very unlikely. I think the closest that we have to that is the Western occult tradition. And we already have that. And we've proven that it goes back for thousands of years, you know. So but to claim like, you know, like your family was initiated by some ancient witch cult and you practice a traditional form of witchcraft is kind of it sounds nice, it looks good on paper, but where's the evidence to back it up? That's always what I say.
Yeah.
All right. Anyhow, let's get back into this.
With all of this negative energy into it, even though, and again, as I try to say every time I do one of these teachings, the Wiccans, the white witches, are not evil in the sense that they don't try and go out and do evil the way Satanists are, but they still.
I love how he tries to like garnish the favor of Wiccans, or, you know, by saying, "Oh, I'm not referring to you. I'm talking about the evil Satanists going around doing this."
Which that surprised me. It's like, it's the evil Satanists, not you Wiccans. You white witches are great. You're fine. You're perfect. It's just these guys aren't.
Right.
It's like no one is going to take your side on this bill except for people like you.
And any group that would be trying to pay homage to, you know, the goddess Ostara, or celebrate the celebration of the spring equinox or the March equinox, is not going to be, you know, one of these satanic or hardcore satanic groups. I mean, it could be, but probably most likely not.
Still are lost people, however sincere, however nice they might be. They did forsake the ways of the heathen and come to Messiah. Satanists are dedicated to serving the evil one in all his naked evil glory. And they
naked.
And what we caution people,
naked evil glory too,
are dedicated to serving the evil one in all his naked evil glory. And they do. And what we caution people about this time is that this is a time when they are required, Satanists, to have orgies. That's how they
They're required. So even if you don't want to, and you're a Satanist, well, it's required. So
I didn't know that was a requirement. Oh, lords. Whew.
I didn't know it was a requirement either, but apparently in Bill's mind, it is.
Shit, that means, hey, Soren, we have to have more orgies at the house. Well, 2 people need to move down here for that to happen. Good point. Soren's not objecting.
This particular feast, there's no animal or human sacrifices indicated, but of course, to have orgies, you need to have girls.
So where is he getting this information from? I know supposedly an Illuminati, ex-Satanist, ex-witch, all this other stuff. So I guess he has this internal secret knowledge of it, but he doesn't have any place that he can reference it.
Yeah, that's why I'm curious. Like you, I want to know, does he have the I'm not part of the occult anymore link to a secret book that we don't?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do they make a book for people like him? Do they make a book for psychos that decide to become everything?
I guess maybe when you get up into the 90th degree of the Freemasons and you get approached by the Illuminati and they ask you to join them, I guess at that point they give you a book with all the actual real holidays in it and what you're actually supposed to do on those holidays.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So you and I and everybody else like in the chat room, we're not that high up in the Illuminati yet, so we haven't received the book.
Ah, damn.
Yeah. So you kids out there, there's something to look forward to when you grow up.
Keep practicing to be an Illuminati member, people.
Yep. Keep eating your spinach and say no to drugs.
And so they're going to try and go out, and of course, within a certain degree, they use their own men and women, but they'll try and go out and corrupt some people.
Damn it! That's what I have to do. Shit. I got to go out and corrupt more people. Have you been corrupting people, Loki?
I think I've corrupted a few people. I mean, I've convinced people to join my harem. So, yeah, I've corrupted people this week.
Oh, well, okay, good. You know, you're doing better than me. I forgot about that because the spring equinox is coming up this month, you know.
Oh, you're right. You better get out there and start corrupting some of those small children. Hurry, hurry.
Yep, you're going to have to go ahead and start corrupting people. I forget how many people I corrupted last year, but I'm hoping to do, I don't know, maybe at least 25% more.
Yeah, I need to do at least 50% more because I was kind of backlogged on my corruption last year.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And you also got to corrupt people to become lesbian too, right?
That too. Lesbian pansexuals.
Wow.
I don't know how that actually works, but hey, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, you got 2 quotas to meet. Wow. It's rough.
Yeah, I know. Fuck. Damn it.
You have this whole phenomenon which sometimes not coincides with all this spring break thing where many misguided parents let their young people, teenage boys, teenage girls, go to some place like, you know, Florida.
Those are some pretty old teenagers.
Yeah, at least one of those is in their 30s. I mean, the guy with the balding head, I'm pretty sure is not a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely probably, you know, I think everybody who goes to those parties are probably at least over 18. Definitely. I mean, they're probably over 21, if not, you know, at least over 18.
The South Padre Island, whatever it's called in Texas, various places where basically there's all manner of licentiousness, drinking.
Ooh, licentious. I got to hear that word again. I like that.
Florida or the South Padre Island, whatever it's called in Texas, various places where basically there's all manner of licentiousness.
Licentiousness.
It just makes everything sound dirty. Oh my, Bill.
I want to try something that's licentious.
I think I do too, because that's just interesting.
Yeah, piqued my interest.
Drinking, drugs, free sex,
Drinking, drugs, free sex. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But tell us more about this licentious stuff. Licentious stuff.
That's exactly what
Whatever that word is, stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, these people, these Satanists, are there to scarf up on this. They will use this time as a way to seduce young girls and maybe even young boys.
I knew it. I knew it. See, that's why I never went to spring break. Good thing, too.
Because of the girls and the boys. I knew it.
Yeah, all those satanic boys and girls out there at spring break trying to indoctrinate, other people into doing lascivious stuff. And you know what they use to lure them in with, don't you?
Cocaine and booze?
Drugs, alcohol, and free sex.
I knew it.
Yep.
We gotta start offering more free sex around here.
Yeah, everybody seems to enjoy free sex. I don't know.
Yeah, free sex is awesome.
Yep.
Free sex is awesome.
Teenagers, to become involved in all sorts of licentious activities.
Wow, he used that word again. Licentious. Licentious.
I think that's going to be the word of the day.
I think we should definitely probably change the name of this show to Lychevinish. Lychevinish.
Lychevinish.
Lychevinist. Lychevinist.
The word you can't pronounce.
Yeah, the word I gotta back that up. I gotta try that one again. Lychevinist.
Young girls and maybe even young boys, teenagers, to become involved in all sorts of licentious activities.
Lychevinich. I still let me
Lycevitit. God damn it.
try that one again.
To become involved in all sorts of licentious activity.
Licentious.
What?
Licentious.
Licentious?
Yes.
Okay, good. Licentious activity. All right. Okay. There we go. We got that Lychevinous activity.
Dear God, we need a life. Where are you, Dorian?
Yeah, really. It's all your fault, Dorian.
Let your young people be involved in that. And I would, again, caution parents to keep an eye on their adolescent and young adult children.
Yeah, because their hormones are out of control.
It's the damn hormones.
Yeah. I mean, it's not their fault. It's the hormones' fault.
It's all the hormones' fault because, the hormones make them do it.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, they're down there at spring break. They're into drugs. They're into alcohol. Free sex is all around them. The Satanists are off on the sidelines, scoping them out, tempting men with licentious activity. And they're what defense do they have? They don't know Yeshua, and their hormones are raging, and it's not really their fault if you think about it. Poor kids.
Still, that are not married, because they might very well get caught up in something like this, because these people they want fresh blood, quote unquote. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to try and get out and because especially, they love to get Christian young women. Oh, yeah.
There you go. There you go. Christian young women. Yeah, that's it. All those Satanists down there at spring break, scoping out people, looking for the people who are wearing, crosses around their necks or walk around saying, I love the Bible or I love Jesus. And they're giving them drugs and they're getting them in bed and playing off their hormones, and it's terrible. We should do something about that. We should write a petition, write a law.
We should. I mean, there should be a law against underage drinking and smoking and sex.
No,
Wait.
no. Those things are fine. We should write laws against the Satanists. What are
Oh,
you talking about?
oh, never mind then.
Yeah,
Ignore me.
because it's the Satanist's fault.
Totally all their fault, and not the schools, not TVs, not the kids' parent or lack of parenting. It's totally all the Satanists' fault for your kid failing.
Yeah, and that too, exactly.
Because they know that that's exceptionally distressing to the parents, and it's also distressing to our father to have a young Christian woman get drawn in either through drugs or the occult or alcohol into losing their virtue, into being involved, in fact, in something satanic, which is even worse than just losing their virtue. So we need to be careful about this. We need to really pray for our young people during this time, as with all of these different festivals. But the main concern there.
So I wonder, how does Bill prepare for these videos? Does he sit in his? Is he sitting there on the couch stroking his beard one day, and he sees TV and it talks about spring break happening, and then it clicks in his mind. He goes, "Oh, isn't there? There's also a pagan holiday around March 21st, around the spring. It's called Ostara. And then there's spring break. I wonder if there's a connection there." And then he just writes out this whole script and gets in front of a camera and starts spouting nonsense.
I think that's what he does. It has to be, because I'm trying to figure out how he connects half this shit together. I mean, I'm sitting here going, I don't even know how to connect all this shit together.
Yeah. So he's probably sitting there watching, and all these sweaty, oily bodies are dancing around these young, fresh, firm young girls and boys, and he's sitting there looking at them going, "Oh, wow, look at all that sexual activity they're going to have tonight." And then he starts imagining all these things that are going on, and next thing you know, he's like, "Oh yeah, well, the Satanists must be involved in it somehow." Absolute insanity.
There is this sexual licentiousness.
Wow, he's used that word three times so far.
More than 3 times. I think he's on the 5th or 6th time.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
They believe that by doing this, by having these wild orgies, that they're going to increase the level of satanic power that they can use as we move from Ostara toward Beltane, which is the major spring feast on May 1st for both witches and Satanists. So again, pray. We have prayers on our website for dark seasons, prayers that believers can pray to be protected.
What about unbelievers?
And to have their children, their families, their communities protected from these sort of people. Because in any good-sized community, you are going to have Satanists anymore. It's no longer just something you find in the urban areas and not out in the middle of America. They're everywhere. I mean, I was a Satanist, and I was in Milwaukee, which is right in the middle of America. So it's not just
I love his joke. That was a great joke, don't you think? I was a Satanist.
Yeah, I know. It's just like Bill. No, you weren't. Oh man.
These people are, in most good-sized communities, they're there and they're trying to prey on your children. So pray for them, warn them, teach them about the dangers of the occult, and instruct them in these matters, because this is your job as a father or mother to do these things, to warn your children and to bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Almighty. Okay, so that's warning number 1. March 21st, be prayed up and pray the prayers that we have on our website.
Should people put on the full armor of God? You think he's going to say that?
I don't know, but I think we should just go put it on just because it's shiny.
Yeah. I'm only going to put on half the armor of God, so I'm going to kind of skimp a little bit this time. You know what? I think I might wear maybe part chainmail and maybe a little shoulder pad of the armor of God. I'm thinking that's going to be a good look this year.
That might work.
Yeah. Just one. Just like maybe it's just my shield arm, you know, my left arm. Put the shoulder armor of God there. Maybe, you know, just in case somebody swings a sword at me and it bounces off my shield, it won't hit my shoulder or my neck.
That could work.
Yeah. Whoops.
Definition of the Almighty. Okay, so that's warning number one. March 21st, be prayed up and pray the prayers that we have on our website against dark angels and dark seasons. You'll find them there under our prayers subheading on the website. Additionally, in a little bit further off, we have the this thing you may have heard about last month where the witches and neo-pagans and whatever are arming themselves to do battle against Donald Trump. And that was not just one time. This is going to be every dark moon. And so what we're talking about here is the next dark moon is on the 26th and the 27th of March. So it's about, you know, a little over a week away. And we need to be aware of that because, believe me, these people are aware of it. These witches, they are committed to at the very least restraining, to doing spells of bondage or ligature, as it's called in the occult, against Donald Trump and against his family and his administration to prevent them from doing what the people elected them to do. Half the country voted for Donald Trump, and yet, you know, these people are taking it upon themselves to do spiritual warfare against them. So,
you know, I think that was more of a political move than actually anybody really interested in actually doing some spell work against Donald Trump.
Yeah, it was honestly just the biggest joke ever. It was just a, hey, look at us. We're trying to do something, which isn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
We need to keep standing against it. We need to be praying. And again, we have a prayer on our website, a pattern prayer. We know many of you are powerful intercessors and you know how to pray. But for those people that are kind of new at this or would like to have kind of a background on how to do it, we have.
Is there, do Christians believe that like one person's prayer is somehow better than another person's prayer? I mean,
I don't think so. From what I remember from going to church, it was the power of your prayer is as powerful as your belief.
Okay.
So it was powered by how hard you believe in something.
Okay.
That can be taken so wrong in so many ways.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah. So that makes sense. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, like, oh, William over there has been praying for 30 years, so his prayers are much more powerful than your prayers. I mean, that just seems so ridiculous, you know. But I bet I'm sure there's probably power plays in their community of like, you know, who's the most holy, who's the most true, who's the most traditional, you know, whatever believer in God or whatever. I'm sure they have their own little inner bullshit competitions with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Specifically to protect Donald Trump and his family and his staff against those that are trying to impede him, and also realize this prayer, this curse that is being used, and I talked about this last time, but it bears repeating, not just against Donald Trump or his family or his staff, it's also against those who abet him. In other words, those who support him.
Yeah.
So if you are...
Yeah, and that whole spell thing was really badly worded and badly put together too.
Extremely on both ends, on all ends. I mean, granted, this video that we're watching right now is about a year old, obviously, if he's talking about that. But yeah, I believe we read it at one point what the spell was.
Yeah.
And we were all laughing at it so much because it was so horribly worded, horribly put, horribly conceived. Granted, the person who wrote it and everything may have thought in their mind, this is going to work perfect. this is great. I love how it flows. They might have believed that to themselves. But us being outsiders looking in, we're looking at it like, no, this is worded horribly, woman.
What?
Yeah, because it was like a curse and a binding in one, and it didn't make any sense. So
yeah, I hate to say, if you're gonna do a curse, you do a curse. If you're gonna do a binding, do a binding.
Right.
If you combine them, it becomes a clusterfuck, and you don't know what's gonna happen, if it happens, if it backfires, if it doesn't even work. And most times it won't work when you combine those two things together, especially the way that they did it. It was badly conceived.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I think I shared this before. I mean, I don't know. I mean, my experience has been that magic does work. So I'm sure that those people, you know, I'm sure that they were able, I'm sure that it did work. I'm sure the effects of it are actually happening right now. It's just that I don't think, because it was so poorly put together, I don't think it's having the same effect that they thought it was going to have. I mean, that's important.
Yeah. I mean,
sometimes you can see results of something, and the results of it can be, it can happen in a way that you did not mean. Can you turn your mic off, please, Loki?
Yeah.
Thanks. It just seems really, it just kind of, it doesn't have, it can have the effect that you intended, but in unintended ways, if that makes sense. At least that's my opinion about it.
Yeah, and sorry about the mic. I thought I had it turned off. I guess I didn't. But I do agree. I do think that magic does work regardless, but we don't always understand the outcome of it. They might have wanted a different outcome, but we're getting the outcome that we have right now, where you're seeing a lot of his administration leaving or disowning or dealing with other problems that has been going on with him. So it, depending on what their actual want for the outcome is versus what is happening, it all depends. So you're right. It probably did work, but not in the way that they hoped.
Yeah. And also, one of the things I didn't like about the spell was, I believe you're supposed to burn a picture of him. And burning a picture of someone is destroying that person. You're essentially having them turn to ash. That's now a curse, because you're, through sympathetic magic, you are assuming that picture, which is a representation of that person, is being destroyed by fire. Having the President of the United States destroyed through fire is not exactly the type of curse that I would want to happen.
No, because by fire, country destroyed by fire because of him, or the White House burning down, or nuclear fire. It could be horrible. I mean, and I do agree, almost every curse that I've ever read that you do on people sometimes involves burning something via a picture or something that represents them, or so on or so forth. And I've never seen a actual binding that involves burning. You normally tie the picture up and leave that as a binding, or put it into something, and you don't burn it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I could see somebody, like, maybe once, like, let's say you do a spell against somebody, maybe a binding spell or something like that. I mean, chances are you'd probably want them to remain bound. But at some point, if you did want to release them from their binds, or, you know, have that effect to continue for however long, then I guess you could destroy those items, but that would be done separately after a certain period of time, you know.
yeah, that would be long after the duration of the spell.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, I mean, it's just, yeah. So that's one of the reasons why, you know, I mean, it's okay if you're curious and you want to just play around with magic and you think it's harmless, then that's one thing. But if you are actually trying to manifest a specific intention, then you should try to manifest that specific intention. Don't be vague. Don't sort of, halfway, kind of, maybe, sort of do it, you know, and have the faculty of your intention in the fullest aspect that you can within your mind and your focus and your concentration and your visualization. And if you do that, chances are your spell is going to manifest. Now, how it manifests is dependent upon many factors, you know, but it will take effect. It might not take effect in a day or a week or a month or a year, but it will take effect, you know. It's just, I don't know the exact mechanics of it, but it has to happen within certain, it's not just going to spontaneously pop into existence. Let's put it that way. It has to go through regular mundane channels.
Yeah.
Anyhow, all right. Enough with the magic lecture.
Yeah, let's finish off this video because it's almost time.
Gotcha.
Voted for Donald Trump. If you are a Christian, because I think by and large most Christians voted for Donald Trump, then they're targeting you as well, you and your family. So be aware every dark of the moon. And the next one is around the 26th, the 27th is the actual dark moon. But, you know, some witches will do it the night before, some witches will do it the night of. So just be aware there's going to be heavy weather on that date too. And so you need to pray. You need to be girded up and go out and pray. This is, believe me, we almost need, I hate to say this, but I made a remark about this on Facebook a few weeks ago. We need almost to have a spiritual secret service out there to protect Donald Trump against these kind of attacks. But yet, because there's so much today, you know, these witches and neo-pagans and probably Satanists are just aiming their spiritual cannons right at Donald Trump. And so we need to raise up the shield of faith, the large shield of favor, and just pray that Abba Father would protect him and guide him.
Isn't that a clip from the movie 300?
How to proceed.
Yes, that is a clip from 300.
And move according to how the Ruach wants him to move in executing the office of president. Because we understand as believers that Yahweh sets people up as whether kings or rulers or presidents, whatever. And so he is there for a reason. And we want to pray that he will be open to that as well, that he will do what Abba Father wants him to do and not necessarily listen to unrighteous advice or be taken down by these curses. So basically, that is what I wanted to talk about. Remember, the 21st of March is the equinox, Ostara, and don't get into Easter and Easter bunnies and all of that, because that's actually that part of that pagan holiday. That's why Easter is always tied into the equinox. It's usually the first Sunday after the first full moon after the equinox. That's how the date of Easter is determined.
Then if that was the case, it would be tied to the full moon, not the equinox.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Right, because if you measured something after the equinox, or maybe like, let's say, X amount of days after the December solstice, yeah, then it would be dependent upon the equinox. It would be based upon the sun. But he was talking about the moon. So if it's, I think it's like usually the first 40 days after Lent or something like that. Come on, somebody's got to be a good Catholic in our chat room who knows about that.
I think it might be. It's the 40 days after Lent. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's 40 days after Lent. So however they determine Lent. So it's not tied into the equinox.
So it's entirely pagan. And on the other thing, on March 26th and 27th, just have your armor on and pray for our nation and pray for our president against these people that are trying to inhibit him, at the very least, from doing what Abba Father wants him to do. Okay, appreciate your listening. Again, if this is a blessing to you, please.
All right, so we'll go ahead and end it there. So, well,
yeah.
Thanks, Loki. That was a good video to do.
Yeah. Well, I figure we change it up from the whole satanic panic to something a little bit different. I know we've been trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll hopefully have fun with doing other things for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think next week is the Dungeons and Dragons update, right?
Yes, next week is, and I have been working on that, writing things up for the last week and a half as well. So yeah, that's been fun.
Cool. Alrighty, so we'll do that next week, and hopefully Dorian will be back with us. And so I think with that, I think we'll go ahead and close it up, Loki. What do you think?
All right, I think so too.
All right, so thanks everybody in the chat. Thank you, Loki, and have a good night.
You too. Blessed be all.